Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to Gift of Healing TV. I'm Sara Jane, and I am delighted to be joined by Daniel John Hanneman for our program this evening where I am. Daniel, thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be here with you, Sara. So I'm really excited to be with the audience today, and whatever comes through us is going to be amazing.
Bless you. Thank you. What you're going to be sharing with us today is rock your sacred purpose. But before we get started on that, let me just share a little bit about you. Then I'll come to the questions. Daniel John Hanneman has an extensive background as an intuitive business coach, energy scanning, selling, and healing system creator, professional counselor, and certified hypnotherapist, with combined business and professional backgrounds in spiritual life coaching, channeling, metaphysics, religious science, hypnosis, psychology, motivational techniques, and personal business development systems. From a best-selling book series, Daniel has co-authored the book, Wake Up, Live Your Life, Live the Life You Love, Living in Abundance, which featured internationally renowned legends including Anthony Robbins, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and Dr. Michael Beckwith. He is the creator and host of Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, a top 2% show in the world. Daniel helps healers to unleash their intuitive psychic healing and sales power to thrive with much more confidence, joy, and clients in their healing business. Daniel, thank you so much. Please share a little of your story. I'm surprised you've got time for anything else other than with all that, to be perfectly honest. But share a little of your story, how you come to do what you do, why it's such a passion for you.
Yeah, I grew up a really shy kid, and I still have some of that in me, even after doing, countless talks like this and interviews. But I still feel like, whoa. And just by the way, just so people know, I do want to share that I'm standing up because I've been hearing for a long time, you probably should be standing and walking more during your calls. And then I ended up with a little back injury. So funny how Source works, It's brought me to this place, which is all perfect. So that's why I'm standing today, which is actually just feels more natural to me. I stand on my IG reels and everything. So, but it wasn't always this way where I'm out doing these things and being fearless about it, because I used to be the one that wasn't talking. I blended into they say in high school, he's just invisible. He doesn't exist. And that's the kind of kid I was. I had natural, I think, leadership in me, but because of an introvert, and most of the time I'd be quiet and wouldn't say things. Once you give me the head of the room, then okay, let's go. So that's always been my thing. And I really feel like growing up, I just had this incredible, love pouring through my heart, still do. And I just didn't know what to do with it. I didn't understand why people made such a weird deal of so many different things. And I couldn't understand why everybody was so caught up in so much drama. And so I just stayed quiet. I don't want the drama. I'm just going to sit here and be observant. And then, what happened is I think I started taking on the pain body in high school and whatnot, right? It's like I'm empathic, I'm sensitive. I'm like, well, I guess maybe I need to be all kind of weird too. And so my energy got very fragmented. I had major depression, suicidal ideations, and all that stuff. Saw a psychiatrist, told them I could do anything. I could blow objects up, so I could move things. I could do. Guess what? The script pad came out really quick, and he just says, very interesting, very interesting. So that's kind of what got me started. I knew like I had this connection to infinite power, and I just didn't know what to do with it. So what happened is I just went into psychology, basically, ultimately, without telling a whole long story here, too long. And then what happened after that is I went into sales for 2.5 years, going outside sales for copiers. So this shy kid was like, that's it. I'm not being shy. I'm speaking up. Hundreds of cold calls a day, going up to doors that say no solicitation and being ordered to go through those doors by my bosses. So I did all those things. And I just realized, the more calls you make on average, the more sales you make. And I wasn't a great salesman with that. I'm not a natural salesperson for everything, but I learned a lot from it. I learned perseverance. I learned that I can start to trust, being persuasive, because I was just the opposite of that. I was just like, I'm not going to persuade any girls. I'm not going to persuade most of the time. Now, some of my friends, I was very persuasive, but I didn't want to hurt. I didn't want to hurt people. I was always with the idea. Somewhere inside me is always like for the highest good, right? So I took that. I went forward and I decided to go back and get my master's in clinical psych because I wanted to help people. I wanted to understand people. I wanted to do something out myself too. And my sister's got chronic mental illness, by the way. So I'm like, okay, probably that's in the back of my mind somewhere. What's the deal? How do we help? And so I went. I got my master's degree in clinical psych. I was told I was unorthodox. I asked too many questions. I was roundly criticized by my professors because I was out of the box and held back a year actually, and just I'm too awkward, all this stuff. So, but they did recognize I was really good at tuning into people and understanding people to a level that I think surprised them. They just didn't really understand it. Classmates would flock to me to read their cases, like, what do you think of this person? I'm like, why are you asking me? I don't know. You're just good at this stuff. Some people just know things. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know about intuition. I didn't know about psychic gifts. I didn't know what was going on. So after that, I went into my first job. I got fired right away within a month. They just said, you don't fit in here, which had been a mantra of my life. It's wherever you go, you either get fired or castigated out. You're no good. You don't fit in. You're not normal. So that was heartbreaking because I've been told in graduate school I probably couldn't make it as a therapist. You're too weird. You're too awkward. They didn't say those words, but that's how it came across. And so anyway, I got into working with the chronically mentally ill in the right position, the right role, the right people, and then I thrived. I ended up in a whole other job really quick with a raise because doing that type of work, because I was like in my element more there. Because I could see who they really were and not just go by they were just chronically mentally ill. And I was speaking spiritual truths like right out of the gate, like about like there's nothing wrong in this moment, right? Like I'm doing all that stuff way back in the 90s. So it just came to me naturally, the spiritual teacher sort of vibe, which a lot of my clients call me a spiritual teacher, even though I talk a lot about business. So anyway, fast forward through doing a bunch of jobs there. In 2006, after doing metaphysical study and science of mind study, and learning how things happen and how we can create through our consciousness, etc., I went online in 2006 and started trying to figure out how to do coaching and healing online. Got it going. I was a disaster with sales, a disaster letting people sign up and work with me. And after a while, I just decided to offer these energy scans. This download came to me of how to do these energy scans. Started utilizing them, signed people up regularly, and I just started to offer programs, and everything kind of built from there. And then I had a whole academy for invincible healers for a number of years, and that thrived at a high level. I was teaching people to go to six figures, or at least start to have more clients at a minimum. And I went to multi six figures to that endeavor. And then after that, after 2017, I got a nudge to stop it. And ever since, I've been doing things like my podcast and helping people at a higher level, going deeper into their business, but people at a higher level, six figures and beyond, helping them in their businesses to grow. And I've also, continued some energy scan trainings, teaching people to tune into others, and then utilize that to prescribe basically what they could do for somebody. Oh, I can help you with that energy. Let's do some healing, right? And how to get more clients that way, right? Because it's like you got to break the ice. People don't know you. You got to do something to get in front of people, give them a taste. I got some vocal toning from Sara today, and I'm like, now I've got a taste. Who knows? You never know someday, right? But there's countless people I've given energy scans to. They're never going to work with me, but I feel great because I did a service, right? It's a service to me. It's a service to them. It's about that selfless service, but we have to be willing to be bold and make offers for people to invest, because there's many people that want to invest, or it would be helpful for them to invest financially and get our help. And that's where a lot of healers get caught up. So I could go on and on, but that gives us a good start.
No, thank you so much. And do you know what? The shy. Absolutely. I was there. We we didn't know we'd got a voice. It was that simple, wasn't it? Sort of because we didn't feel we were listened to. We didn't even feel we were seen. And
Right.
so I absolutely get it. And so, okay, I'm going to ask this because what was the defining moment for you? Was there a defining moment for you that helped you to move from that point of feeling unseen and unheard to finding your voice and stop worrying about, well, not that other people are thinking about us, but what other people are thinking about us? Was there a defining moment for you?
Yeah, it's funny. There are different ones. One was in sophomore year when I was just so inward. I had my group of friends growing up, but like I had kind of gone to zero, almost nobody that I was hanging out with or doing anything with. And then one day, this is how I am. This is how I roll. Like I got many stories like this in my life. I'm like, that's it. I'm getting a best friend. So somebody in one of my classes, I'm like, yeah, you look good. You look good. So that's how it kind of came. I started interacting with them. I started, I kind of aggressive almost. I'm like, all right, so what are we doing after school now? And to me, that was weird, right? Like for me to out of the blue to be doing that sort of thing. And so I found like in that relationship with that person, like I was the leader of the relationship, even though he was much more social than me. But I'd be like, hey, let's do this now. Let's do that. It changed over time, but like in the beginning, I was very taking charge. That was I would say that was one of the breakthrough moments for me for sure to get started. And then I had more like in terms of trusting my sister got pregnant when she was like, 20, didn't know who the father was. So I was always like scared to get intimate with girls. Like I was like, I don't want it to end up like that. Like I'd be worried to even go down anywhere near that path. I always had a lot of big thing of, I need to respect women. I need to be so perfect, right? And so I was like that person. But to my detriment, ultimately, like too much. And then I started to loosen up around that over time. But I started to just realize, okay, you're not going to have the fulfillment in your life if you don't start trusting yourself. So start with a couple of dates in college, here and there. So just finding that I had a gift with my energy and a charisma and ability to influence people, and it could be for the good. And I don't know where all the defining moments are. There's probably a number of them, but I just started to realize you can lead. Like I saw in college once, I remember the group was full. The partner was supposed to do a group presentation, and we had to bring all our stuff together. And they were fighting. They're like, people are fighting, and all this stuff is horrible. And like, I was a miracle maker. I just brought everybody together. I was the leader, and the group shined. And interestingly enough, the teacher thought I sucked up on stage. But anyway, I saw the talent I had to bring a team together and successfully do something. And really, that's what I do now too. With entrepreneurs that have a team, I get behind that team, and everybody elevates. And I'm grateful that I can have a positive influence on people when I trust my power and stop, being worried about showing up and just being yourself.
And that's just it, isn't it? Fake it till you make it. Trust and believe in yourself. And it's the self it all starts with, isn't it? And I suppose that's what you're helping people to do. But you had to, from what you were saying, you had to fake it until you actually felt that you became the person that you were always meant to be. And so many of us, we have to do that. We have a confidence in ourselves, but we don't. And I know, because I felt exactly the same. I was an area manager in a lighting company by then, and I was still faking it, but I was good at my job. But it's understanding that we are accepting what the things that we are good at, but it's also not berating ourselves with the things that we're not, because we're not here to do everything. We're here for the things that we are here to do. So it sounds like you're very much a people person, in spite of the fact of the shy aspect very definitely wasn't a people person. And I get that, because you're almost describing me.
Right. Right? No coincidence.
And so, but isn't that, but isn't it important for people to hear this? You know,
Right.
sort of, if you are feeling sort of that, can I be in a corner, please? Can the wall open up or the floor open up? If you're feeling that, I've been there. I've done that. It sounds like
I'm still there at times during different days. I mean, there's days can I just disappear? You know, it'd be a lot easier. That's a lot more, I would say, more comfortable, right? I mean, there's nothing that I love more than just meditating, just being in the presence and doing nothing else, nothing else. And yet I see how amazing it is to mix it up, get out there, do something, you know, and create a wave. And so I've seen that's what this whole sacred, rocking your sacred purpose is all about for me. Inwardly, nurturing that connection. But, what happens for some people is they just go into that nihilism sort of thing. Nothing means anything. We're just all here and it's all happening and we just get to enjoy it. That's it. And yeah, maybe to some degree, but there's something that wants to come out of us and to express and to share and to mix it up. We didn't come here just to meditate only. I mean, I've come here to mix it up as well. So, it's being in that dynamic and always realizing, yes, we always are going inward first, typically, and allowing what springs from there to kind of guide us and direct us in our businesses and our lives or careers, whatever it may be. But we've got to realize it's about all of it, not being like, well, I don't know, I don't want to do any harm, so let me just meditate all the time and not do like what I really want to do in my life. That's what a lot of people do. They do something else that allows them to hide, basically. And so my whole thing has been to help myself and others to not hide, to show up, do what you want to do. And so, now I'm just like, I do my podcast, I do these reels on IG, I do all these different things. And I am totally comfortable to go anywhere and speak. It's not a problem for me. I used to crave it more in the past because I just felt like I needed to get out there, right? Finally, after all the years of not talking. But now it's like I enjoy it, but it's not like, man, I really need to do it. It's more like if I choose to do it. So, but I love to talk. Love to talk. Once I get going, right? Now I get going. Look out. Now now family members say I talk too much. That's the joke of the family. I talk too much now.
But I get that, sort of, yeah, I can talk, from somebody who wouldn't open their mouth to somebody who that has to learn to be quiet at times.
A little bit more sometimes, yes.
But it's also that ability to listen to others. As much as we can find it, having found our voice, we wish to use it, and and we find it in different ways, don't we? But as I think you commented, it's about, yes, we go back into ourselves. But I think what I realized was, to step outside your comfort zone is to step back into yourself. And as I've heard it said, nothing grows in your comfort zone. You're only going to grow. And it is about growth. For me, it's not about change. It's about growing into the person that you are here to be. And that's going to be different at many different stages of your life. And that's what I'm hearing is, rock your sacred purpose is supporting people to take those steps to move forward and feel comfortable that they are being within, and it's being rather than doing, being within their lives, the person that they are here to be, bringing the gifts they're here to bring.
Right. There is a divine assignment that you have, right? You have a divine assignment. And so it's a matter of fulfilling that. It's easy just to go to the kind of the 3D terrain of our lives and be like, all right, well, I gotta do this or that to make money and get by and survive and, or thrive or whatever. And we get caught up in all that instead of like, well, what if I really just went up for whatever the heck I want to do with my life and my business, right? And so that's always what's been the most interesting for me. Sometimes it's meant I want to do a lot of extra things. I want to do more live events. I used to do all these live events. People come out fly from around the world to be with me and to do things with me. And then until I decided I didn't want to do that anymore, right? So it's a dynamic balance of what it is that calls to you at any given time, because there's a time and a season for everything typically. And so it's just a matter of honoring that and really listening. And a lot of times if I don't listen more fully, I probably could, if I started creating like standing and walking more, I might not have a back injury. I recognize all those things. Like there's so many things it's connected to, right? But my point is just that, the faster we can listen when the guidance comes in, then the better off everything will be, even if it's a crazy idea. Oh, that's crazy. That's no way I could do that. I have shy people that come to me all the time that want to do these businesses. And I'm like, okay, it looks like you'll be on YouTube and you'll be doing, oh my God, really? And yeah. And then we find the way that aligns for them to do whatever those next steps are, right? Like there's always a way. I mean, maybe you're a blogger, maybe you do this, maybe you do that. But sometimes I've had people that would not actually even meet with clients by like phone, much less, go out in public speak. And they ended up doing all those things that they had to work with me and enjoyed it. And of course, then it grew their business, right? So it's like, you got these gifts. This is what's meant to be happening, but it's not happening for some reason. Let me encourage you. Let me do the energy work too. I do all those things and do the coaching and the strategy and goes on. And then to help them just to let it happen and in the most joyful, expanded way. And so they can do the thing they're meant to do and bring their beautiful frequency out in the world and make an impact.
The important thing that I feel is have a passion for what you do. If you haven't got a passion for it, and I'm listening to you talk, and I know that when I'm talking, when people can't hear, I've got a passion for what I do, but because I do have a passion for what I do. I love doing these interviews, and it gets me out there. It gets get my guests out there. It gets us all out there. That's what it's about, working with the sound. I can stand up in front of a room of 100 people. I can stand up in a whole event and tone and if everybody can hear, that's fine. I have no problems with that, because if that's what we're meant to be doing, it will touch lives in the way that it is meant to. I know what we were talking before. One of the things that I've come to realize is the importance of being detached from outcomes, because it's not what I think should be the outcome. It is what the outcome should be for that individual. And I'm sure that when you work with people, it has to come, at the end of the day, it has to come from them, doesn't it?
Right. Yeah. That's why I talk a lot about meditate to make money. It's about going inward and asking the questions ultimately. Now, I might sit in a coaching space with somebody and be like, okay, so what direction does this want to go or that want to go? And they'll ask me for my guidance first. But ultimately, it's like they have to tune in and they have to land with what their truth is. And if I think they were just going along with what I was saying, I mean, only because they just think like what I'm saying sounds good, then, I tend to push back on that. A lot of times lately, and my clients are like, what's going on? But I'll say, well, I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you think? They're like, wait a minute, you tune in for us. What's it? But I'm like, but you need to start tuning in yourself a little bit stronger and trust yourself more, right? So I have my own method to my madness of how I coach people. I coach with probably like most coaches, but I coach people differently I'm not the same coach with every person. Some people are. Some people are just, I am who I am. I coach how I coach. For me, I'm tuning into the person. I show up the way I think it's going to help them best. If it's really more, let's back up, like I'm not going to, other people might be kind of a really assertive or aggressive. Come on, let's go. And jumping through the screen almost like, come on, what are you doing? And that's exactly what they needed, and it's just a matter of like what that person needs and helping that evoke what needs to be evoked inside them. And so that things can unfold the way they want to.
I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, because I'm one of these people, I do not follow the crowd.
Right, right, right,
There is no box. I do my things my way.
right,
And for me, that's important. I listen. Some people say to me, "No, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should do it." She's like,
right,
"No, I shouldn't.
right,
That
right,
is not how it works for me." Okay. It helps that I'm actually not money motivated. I'm not in it for the money. I have to have sufficient, but I'm retired now. Sorry, I've got my pension now. I'm not retired, which makes life a lot easier. But it shouldn't be about the money. It should, yes, we've got to have it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying money shouldn't be involved. It's really important that we value ourselves. But we're also told that we have a gift and it is important for us to unwrap it and give it away. I'm not quite certain about those words exactly because we do have to live,
right.
but it's what feels right for you as an individual. And Richard Branson, I haven't read the book, but my youngest sister has. He's written, I do not like swearing. I'm really not. So I'm very uncomfortable saying this. But the book is called Screw Business as Usual.
Yeah.
And it's so important. And I love the fact that you say that you are different with everybody. And because you are who you are, the work the way you do, some people really do need that push. Other people need that understanding that they have to work within what they feel are their ethics of working. And that's really important. And that's what I feel I'm hearing from you.
Right. Typically, if I'm working with somebody in business, obviously they're looking to grow their business, right? So for me, I am helping people to make more money because that's what their desire, that's their soul assignment, dare I say. Like that is part of their soul assignment. Obviously, it's always about love and helping people and all the stuff, right? That's always the primary thing. But the money is part of it because money has to do with, do I trust? Like for me, like, do I trust my influence? Do I trust my sense of power that you would want to give me money? Oh my God, and just getting over that, allowing the circulation out. Because what always helped me is like, this money's circulating. The minute it comes to me, I was going to be out the door. And even if I was investing constantly, I'd be putting in a bank account, then it circulates somewhere else. It's not stopping anywhere, really. It's moving. So if you don't want to be part of circulation, it's like not natural. It's not natural. It's meant to circulate, in my opinion. So I'm helping people with the money stuff, or whatever their blocks are, whatever it is that they're needing. It's where we're there to do that deeper work as well. And so I work on that energetic level, the strategic level, on all the different levels, and it all fascinates me. So it's a perfect fit. I also like sometimes to do just straight up spiritual work with people. I've had spiritual programs where I just was channeling Jesus, like a year with Jesus, and I've done silent meditation retreats I've led. It's just kind of what feels true at the time. What seems like the next thing for me to be offering right now? Because you're right, it isn't all about the money. So I could judge myself. I'd be like, why are you making more money? Why don't you have 7 figures and way beyond? And all this? Like, I could judge myself, but the truth is like I'm simply following what I feel is my path each step along the way. There's no right or wrong. It just is what it is, right? And you just continue to do the inner work. If you've got false beliefs that you need a release as part of your path, you will. Like you'll eventually get to it, and you take it one step at a time, and you find your authentic path. There is no such thing as you better do ads, you better do videos, you better do. No, but for some people that is true, right? Like for you, you better do video, whatever. If it seems true, it probably is, right? And so those are the things that get to be noticed and then brought on board and developed. And if it's not true, that's fine too. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you need to go do something else with your life. I'm totally fine with that. I've had people leave the industry. In the early days, I would have fought them. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Now I'm like, sounds right to me. Why don't you do that? You probably come back to it anyway, but go ahead. Whatever's true for them right now, because maybe they're going to gain something outside of doing this type of work, doing their healing work or whatever. They're going to go do something a bit different. They're not going to do it for business. That's great. They're going to develop another aspect they need, and maybe that'll even contribute to a business down the road of doing healing. Who knows? We just have to tune in and see what's true.
I think the important thing is realizing that everything that we've done in our past has been a part of who has made us who we are today, has given us information, has given us experiences, has given us knowledge to get us to the point we are today. As I said, I was an area manager for a retail lighting company, and I've run pubs and I've done various other things. So I've been in those managerial positions, and then it was just like, actually, I'm going to work for myself. But I've never been one of those people. Even when I was working in retail, it was giving people the information and encouraging them to make their own minds up.
Right.
But then that's how I've always been. And that's what works for me. I'm not one of these people that sort of can turn around and say, you've got to do it this way.
I am if it's true. If it's really clear if it's absolutely clear to me, I can be that person. It just kind of depends, Sometimes it's a question mark. I'm not sure, and I just try to guide the person, guide the guidance, right? Tune into the guidance, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And we'll see. We'll work out the energy. We open up the space. We get into allowing, right? What really wants to happen here? Ask this type of questions. And so when I'm certain about things are usually meant to go in that direction. I have to say more times than not, because I've got that, human design. They talk about sacral authority and all that. So when I know something and I really, really know it, it is. And so if I'm not sure, then, maybe there's another opportunity, another direction. Maybe there's other choices that could be better. But yeah, if I really know, I know, and that's kind of different. For some people, it's a different process of trying to figure things out, so I don't expect everybody to be like me. Like either or you don't know. What's wrong over there? And I'm like, okay, maybe you don't know. Maybe we need to talk about it, right? That emotional authority they talk about in human design. We have to talk about it, process it more. It used to drive me nuts in the back of the day. I'm like, I know or I don't know. Now, why isn't it that way for you? And so, like with my wife, when I saw her online, I did the dating online way back when in the 2000s, and I found her. I was like, yep, she's it. I knew instantly after going through all the thousands of profiles. I was like, yep, here it is. And didn't bother with all the other ones. I didn't even try to date anybody else. That's it. And then she didn't respond for a few days. I'm like, hey, what's going on over there? Like, what the heck? Can't you see it? Like, why not? Like, what I mean? Like, so yeah, I think people have gifts sometimes believe like other people must have these gifts. Why is it so hard for them and it's easy for me, right? And it's like we have to get over that too, because that was a big thing that held me back. I had certain gifts that other people didn't have, and I always thought in my mind, this isn't fair. Why should I be so much better than they are at that? But that's not serving anything. We have to bring our gifts forward because they're there to help. They're not. You're meant to shine those gifts. It doesn't matter. Get out of your head about it, right? That's what I had to learn.
Oh, yes, so much. But there are, there are more than one way of doing things, and some people have to find their way of doing things.
True. That's true.
When you get the same result, that's the most important thing. So share. I don't know whether you want to do it. Okay. Your 7 major chakra gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about that in the write-up. Clues to your outer purpose. Do you want to share a little bit about those?
Sure. So when I got started with all this, when I got the download about my energy scan technique, I was just, guided to do these chakra scans, and I really didn't know much about the chakras. I had never really studied them or anything. So all the information I got was strictly like I got this download of how to tune into people after some weird trippy experiences of entering people's energy field. I learned to ground my energy. I learned to center and focus it. And I do teach this in my energy scan training. But what I come to understand is like directly like what is going on with people in each of these chakras without first, looking at what everybody else has said about the chakras. I did that afterwards. Okay, now let's look at what everybody else has said, right? And so what I've learned is that for healers, like a lot of times, we have some of these gifts. It varies, but some of us already have the gifts, like we already have the intuitive gifts. So we see those in the third eye, or maybe you have a huge team around you, but you're not really accessing it, right? So I'll see these gifts in these different chakras, but often you'll have the impingement in the throat chakra. Maybe like I got this Egyptian stuff in Dev's office. I'm in Dev's office right now. But like you maybe have a past lifetime, and you were in power in Egypt, and you got in trouble for speaking out. Who knows? Like you got a lot of people have been persecuted for being healers in past lives, right? So all the past life persecution, heads chopped off, hangings, burned to stake, everything. We start to see these things. So if you've had those things, then that it's just every so-called harm that's been done to you is life wanting to experience itself more fully through you, right? And in a higher level, in the higher frequency. So, but we love to have all the experiences because they're available. So we're like, oh yeah, go ahead, lop my head off. That's pretty interesting. From a higher perspective, that's actually what's happening, because consciousness wants to experience it all. But as the soul it continues to journey, it's like, okay, it's enough of that now, right? Then we have to break the pattern somehow in our energy and get on the other train. Now it's all about I am on stage and I'm not afraid to express anything. I go in that direction, right? And I'm sharing my voice bigger than ever before, or whatever. And ultimately, it's the destination is wholeness, is what I've seen through all the scans, thousands and thousands of energy scans I've done for people. And we have all specific different gifts. Some people have really good gifts in terms of being able to like calculate what's going to happen and predict. And other people are telepathic. Other people, all these different gifts. And then there's a life purpose, or some kind of soul mission that we have that we're here to fulfill. And some people use the hands or this or that or the other thing to determine these things. For me, I just kind of tune in and I just get these messages. I'm like, I'm hearing this, I'm hearing that, and some of the clues to know what you're here to do is just, I think like some of it isn't that like mind blowing, like probably has been said before, but look at the things you've naturally been good at and loved, your whole life. Like that gives you huge indications of what you're here for. I was a natural counselor as a kid. Yeah, I was quiet. I was doing a lot of listening back then. I was told I wasn't speaking enough. Now I speak too much, according to some people. But I'd rather hear that than I'm not speaking enough, right? So because I'm coming more into balance. So yeah, what are those things? I was a natural counselor. I saw my parents' businesses that they weren't doing marketing, and any marketing they did, they kind of sucked at it. So I'm like, that's it. I'm going to learn marketing. I'm going to learn sales, and that's part of my mission now. And it's all about trusting my power too, right? So I had to learn all those different things, but I had a passion for business right away. I used to cut grass and have a number of people's lawns I was cutting, and I was entrepreneurial that way because my parents were both business owners in their own right. So, a lot of things took me down this path. So you look at your background, you look at the things you've always had passion for, the things you're doing, there's a blend, there's a synergy within all those things. Those are things that if you don't know what it is already that you're meant to be doing right now, that's where, getting somebody that can tune in and take a look at those things, someone maybe like myself or somebody that does that type of work, to look at what is your actual purpose and what wants to happen right now. Let's figure it out. And then let's have you do it your way based on who you be, right? Who you be and what the next iteration of you expressing yourself and experiencing yourself in this world is meant to be for the highest good of all.
And the important thing is, don't regret what's happened in your past. It's part of the journey and It's part of your gift.
Yes.
my healing journey it's actually been my gift that I bring to others. And so many of us that do this vast amount of work, that is the case for us. What you've been through has led to what you now do. And it's helping people to realize that it's one step at a time. It will come to you when it's ready to. And if you feel that it's time to know, then connecting with people like yourself is exactly the right thing to do. But if what you're told doesn't resonate, maybe it isn't quite the right time yet. Sort of it's trusting how you feel. We're not far off actually at the end of the program, and this has been a great conversation, and it's been fun. And life is meant to be fun. It's not meant to be all work, no play. Sort of the other saying goes. So is there anything that we haven't touched on, anything that you'd really like to share before we close out? And I'll make sure I put your website address in the chat as well.
I'm going to double down on what you just said, because fun is a big value. It's one of my top 5 values in my life and business. And so I just posted the other day on Instagram about this. I'm like, it can be fun, guys. You just have to find the aligned way for you to let things unfold in your business that feels fun for you, for your healing business. That's what I talk about all the time on IG, is talk about how to grow your healing business. And I do channeling on there. I channel Jesus on there as well. And so for me, that's honoring my inner and my outer purpose and everything. Like, I'm using my gifts and I'm being an example. And you don't try to make sense of like what you're supposed to do next logically. Lead with the illogical, like fun, joyful vibration of what wants to happen. And then if it's not the real thing, you'll feel disappointed later. You'll be like, oh, it's fun, but I'm disappointed because of the money or because of this or that or something else, right? Something that does not fully satisfy. But then you learn, right? Like, so many people don't do anything because they are like, I don't know what's going to be fun enough or what keeps me safe or all those things. Just go for it. Have a lot of fun. Just showing up, doing your thing. Like me and Sara are here today. We're just having fun. We're just doing something that we do anyway. Like, we could do anything, we'd be doing this, right? Like, this is what we'll be doing. And we love this. We love having these conversations. So just do what it is that you love, like everybody else says a lot of people do, but you can do it in a fun way. Don't stop listening to people who say, you got to kill yourself. It's got to be hard. That whole thing. Like, forget about that. Do not listen to those people. They're in another frequency. They're serving a different thing. You healer types, no, you're meant to do it from high vibration, love, and above, and all that good stuff, and with fun. And that's your way to grow and expand big time. So that's what I want to share.
You mean it's our way because you're there too?
Right, exactly. It's our way. Yeah. That's right. It's got to be that way, because if it's not fun, then, like I say, if it's not fun, ultimately I'm done. I might do some unfun stuff in my business sometimes, but not for long, because if it's not fun, I'm going to be done. It's not worth it. I only have, I always say it, before you know it, honestly, this incarnation is going to be over. It's going to happen like that. And it's like, okay, what were you holding back for? We're done now. You had nothing to lose. You never have anything to lose. You think you have stuff to lose, but in a deeper sense, you don't. Yes, you could lose something, so to speak, but nothing that is real can be hurt or harmed, as we know, right? Nothing real can be harmed. Yes, things may shift, but it's not this harm that you think is happening. It's about fleshing out your path and just trusting it and having a blast with everything. Give gratitude for everything and having a lot of fun with it.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Daniel, for joining us and for sharing with us. The website is yoursacredpurpose.com. And so if there's anything here that has really spoken to you and you want to learn more about Daniel and his work, please go to his website, check it out. And if you've got any questions for him, connect with him. I'm taking, you've got a contact page on your website, connect with him. That's all we say to people. If this resonates with you, doesn't matter when you find it, just connect with Daniel via his website. And Daniel, I am so grateful for you for sharing with us today. It has been a real pleasure. Thank you so very much.
Likewise, Sarah. Thank you for everybody listening, and I'm so grateful.
And if you're watching via YouTube, you'll find the link to Daniel's website under the video. Next week, we have today's conversation for you in our series, Selfish or Harder to Manipulate. We're being joined by Angela Aurora Medway-Smith and Jean Voistart. Embodied trauma and creatively shifting shame. Take care, be safe, stay well. See you again soon.